Hey there, and welcome to my new show, Nourished. I'm Colleen McCarthy. I'm so glad you're here. For those of you who have seen me on other Lighter Side Network shows, I'm back, and now I have my own show. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist. I work in the Atlanta area. I have my own private practice. It's called On Point Nutrition, so you can find me online. I work with patients virtually and in person. So you can find me on all the social medias, which I'll share at the end of the show. But I work with those that have issues with food sensitivities, with gut health, with just if there's something underlying or going on that you are sure that something is not right, but you've been to multiple doctors and your blood work is good and everything is, seemingly healthy, but you just feel like something is up. That's who I work with. So I'm in the studio today with Leslie Parks Baliey. Welcome.
Thank you, Colleen.
She is a graduate of the French Culinary Institute in 1991.
Mm-hmm. She's now the culinary.
It's now
the International Culinary Institute.
So they changed
the name. They've brought in since I was there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you have your own business, the Baliey Feed. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's just a small catering business that I do out of my home. I used to work privately for people in New York.
Okay.
I worked at a lot of restaurants in New York through my career, and I moved to Atlanta 3.5 years ago, and so I do small jobs here and there, but I'm also just completed my yoga certification, and so I'm trying to combine the two mediums,
which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Like combine, food is yoga, like yoga is food, you know what I mean? So
you need a little yoga to
open it up.
Yeah.
And to feed all the nourishing things that are coming in, right? To feed the energy that's moving. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about today, y'all. We are talking about feeding the chakras and how we can nourish and rebalance our chakras through using food to help energy flow and not get stuck and stagnant in the body, as well as just making you feel good, right? And eating pretty much the rainbow. I mean, look at all these lovely foods that we have here today. So we're just going to get down to business, right? So let's just start with root chakra. Yeah.
So basically, the root chakra is your bottom chakra, where all of your energy starts to flow through your body. If you have a healthy root chakra, I'm going to read this because
you're good.
People who are comfortable with their physical selves know that they can survive adequately in the world. They are able to receive and provide support to family and tribe. Mm-hmm. They are trustworthy and trust others. They accept themselves. They accept their physical body and their earthly existence. They maintain healthy boundaries and believe that they have the right to exist.
Right. So this is a healthy root chakra. Yeah.
And so if you're unhealthy, if you're feeling unhealthy, or if you're not sure, the questions you want to ask, if you're at odds with your family members, do you expend a lot of internal energy to feel safe? Are you stressed?
Yeah.
Is your adrenal system
right? Because it's all in this area
here. And also, do you struggle with just daily things that you have to do?
Right. Yeah. And the feeling of security.
Yeah.
I know physically when I work with clients, the things that they sometimes experience are low back pain, joint pain, obviously stress, sometimes anxiety. So you can, if you're unsure, like, I feel okay emotionally, but your body is physically showing you other things like joint pain, low back pain, feelings of just kind of stressed out all the time. We have some foods that you can give yourself to open that up and allow it to be nourished and to allow the energy to flow through. So let's talk about some of those foods that you can we can use.
So
red. This is a red chakra.
This is a red chakra. So we have strawberries here.
Today.
If you're feeling sluggish or tired, instead of grabbing a chocolate bar.
Right.
Or, something really sugary, a handful of strawberries will really help you. And even red beets, but these are orange beets.
Right.
But beets are good. Beet juice, just shaved beets.
Yeah. Roasted beets.
Roasted beets.
Mm-hmm. We've got some red apples. You can use red apples. Sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic.
Yes, garlic.
Garlic is great. A lot of this, tomatoes are good too. So, and sometimes even meats are good because that's a grounding. If we're feeling like really flighty and all up here, like I said, anxiety, it can pull you back down. Yeah, to help ground. There's some spices too, right? Like paprika is red.
Yeah, I think things that are maybe even chilies. Chilies will help. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what's in season right now. Like you can really get radishes even.
Okay.
Spiciness will just kind of like start to heat up your body and get things moving for you.
Okay.
But you may not want to,
right,
take too much because sometimes, the seeds, it'll upset your stomach. But yeah, just kind of things that are bright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like red flavors.
Red flavors.
Okay, cool. And then even sometimes, red meat. I know people,
meat, yeah.
If you eat meat,
yeah. Red meat is good. Liver is good. Calf's liver. I mean, sometimes people don't like it because it's so irony. So
how can you cook it to make it not so irony? Or
some people before they cook it will soak it in milk.
Okay.
And that kind of that also removes some of the toxins that might be in the meat. But I like calf's liver because it's a little milder.
Okay.
And it's not as dense and heavy. Like, if you ever have that memory of a parent making you liver with like fried onions or something like that. Yeah. No. But calf's liver it's a little more soigné. It's a little lighter. So.
And how would you cook that?
How would I cook that? Wow, I haven't cooked it in a while, but I know that I have some in my freezer. So, I think that I would just kind of saute it really quickly.
Okay.
I might add some capers, lemon juice, a little pat of butter or goat butter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not as heavy as cow's milk. Yeah.
Experimentation is like the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I find I'm not a chef by any means. But I've had to experiment in the kitchen with certain things that I can and can't have. So it's like, yeah, why not?
Right.
Let's try it. See if it works.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of, it's an experimentation of using foods. So, yeah, cool.
Yeah, play.
Yeah.
Remember that you don't have to be perfect, but you just have to, if you don't try and experiment, then you're just going to be stuck.
See, that's great advice, because I know for me, for myself, having celiac disease, there's certain things that I can and can't have. And instead of viewing it as like, I have to cook for myself, I can't eat out.
Thing.
Right. So I often encourage my clients to have play, but even for myself, I have to remind myself that it's an experimentation. It's have fun with it instead of,
and also go by kind of what you're feeling like eating.
Yeah.
If you're craving something, then you probably need it.
Yeah.
So,
and this, this is like right along the lines of, what we're talking about with feeding the chakras. If you've got a craving, there's a reason why it's showing up. So, go with it, use it, move with that, feed yourself, whatever that is. So let's move on to the sacral chakra, which is right around here. And yeah, the color of that is orange.
It's orange.
Okay.
And that's where your creativity lies. And so this is for people who are comfortable with their emotions.
And this is for balance chakra.
And it is
like when it is balanced.
When it's balanced. Okay. Yes, this is when it's balanced. This is
okay.
I mean, going through all of this, which a lot of this came from the Rainbow Diet Cookbook, which is an amazing cookbook by Deanna Minnick, PhD. it's a really great book for what we're talking
Okay,
about.
cool.
So this is about people who are comfortable expressing their emotions. They flow easily through situations and their life and their dreams. They have healthy relationships. They're able to honor their own unique self. And they have no problems, doing things that are pleasurable for themselves. And if you're unhealthy, most people who are unhealthy with an orange flow, they have problems expressing their emotion, their creativity, they get stuck, they get blocked. They might be unsatisfied in their relationship with others.
Yeah, for sure.
And they may have some dysfunction in their sex lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then hormone imbalance, I see a lot with this, especially like with the clients that I work with, because their chakras are, they're all connected. But a lot of the times hormone imbalance is a big one for this chakra. Hormone imbalance meaning your cortisol can be high, which is a stress hormone. Your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone can be kind of out of whack. So if your cycle is irregular, if you're a female, if it's irregular, or just like really heavy or really painful, this is also kind of an indication of that. And then just like I find experience like with myself when I kind of check in with myself, like lack of like self-acceptance of where I am and in life.
Self-doubt.
Yeah. It's a big one, I feel like, for this one. And I'm always like thinking of how I can nourish myself through that process, right? So let's talk about foods. How can we feed that?
So here we have a lot. Even though we have the beets, like the orange beets are good. We have papaya. Oh no, this is the papaya. Mango. What else? Carrots. Oranges. Pumpkin. Squash. All of that. There's a lot, and there's a lot of really good energy in all of those foods. Yeah. And the thing that's great about a lot of these foods is they're their own containers.
Yeah.
They preserve themselves really well. And they also come in large, big quantity. Like a pumpkin
is large.
And a pumpkin is something that, you can roast it or you can steam it and you can get the pulp out and you can freeze it. So if you're feeling bad with this chakra, you have it in the freezer, pull it out, heat it up, throw a little olive oil, salt and pepper, little lemon juice, whatever you need to do.
Okay.
And it's there for you.
It's there. Yeah. So these freeze well. Well, squash.
Most of these things do. This freezes.
Papaya.
The papaya freezes well. The mango freezes well. Beets.
Not so much.
I think if you cook them and then you
freeze them,
you can freeze them. Yeah, they'll be okay. But
you can use them in a smoothie, maybe.
You can use them in a smoothie. You can eat them raw. You can just slice them on a mandolin, or you can, however you want it. If you want them chunky, you can eat them. But eating them raw is also, you'll really get everything. You won't lose as much of the nutrients and all the good sun energy that's in them. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So moving right along. Let's talk about the solar plexus. Right here in the center. Yeah. So I'll just give it to you.
Okay. So that's yellow. That is your joy. When you have a healthy solar plexus, you're pretty powerful. You're pretty fiery. You're able to keep work-life balance. You're not like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I can't deal with my family. Oh, I'm so stressed out. I can't deal with my work. And so these people are able to transform thoughts from the outer world with their internal beliefs and opinions. They think logically and they use their life experience to keep their energy flowing. And if you're unhealthy, you're usually stressed by responsibility. Yeah. You may be overweight and eat the wrong way, just to keep yourself happy.
Dopamine, that's when the sugar cravings start to come.
And also you might lack self-confidence.
Yeah.
Or you might even be egotistical.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Digestion could be off. Stomach's not able to digest and actually digest what's going on in life.
Right.
I see that a lot.
A block.
Yeah. Nervous system is feels shot. I see that a lot with your body just can't, like you said, work-life balance. You just can't. That's how you kind of feel. And you can also feel very sluggish. And like you said, that's when dopamine, we crave things that want us to feel better. So we start going for the more sugary foods.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing that's great about things like this.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, if you eat one of these, you're not going to have that craving, this mango, you're not going to have that craving later in the day because you've
fulfilled it.
You've already fulfilled that need. And it tastes so much better than, a Snickers bar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mango, it's nice and custardy. It's got enough sweetness.
Yeah.
It has the texture, the texture of the custard. So it's nice. And the papaya as well.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's even things like pineapple.
Pineapple. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I love pineapple.
I love pineapple.
And there's been times in my life, well, even in the last year, that I'm craving some pineapple. And I will eat it for 3 weeks, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Don't want it. Well, that's also, I was going to talk to you about, seasonality. And in the summer, there's a certain time of year, all I want to eat is corn.
Yeah.
And that's when you're supposed to eat it. You're not supposed to eat it in January unless you've, preserved
it. Right.
But yeah. So that's another thing. When foods are in season, that's when you really just eat as much as you can of what you love when it's in season, because that's the best time to eat it. You don't want to eat a watermelon in February.
Right.
Because it's cold outside and it's come from a faraway place, and our carbon imprint is insane because of that. So, come July, August, eat as much watermelon, juice it.
I love watermelon juice.
You can make a salad.
Yeah, with fennel.
With fennel or feta cheese.
Yeah, both.
And,
I love that you're, talking about eating in season and giving the listeners permission to eat in season, because there's a lot of shoulds that surround what you should be eating, and our bodies intuitively want these foods when they're in season. So it's okay to listen and to move that way and nourish that way. It's okay. You have permission to eat it.
Yeah, because we're also spoiled. We can eat whatever we want whenever we want.
Right.
And so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Because, I was talking to you earlier about going to the farmer's market. Yeah. I go every Saturday to Carter Center, and there's just an amazing amount of local variety.
That's so amazing.
And the farmers work so hard.
Right.
And then, all this other stuff is flown in, trucked in, trained in. And it's just not as vibrant. You want food that still has energy from the sun, energy that it's pulled out of the earth. It's probably has more water in it for your body. So, yeah.
And more nutrients, and, it's just, we were talking earlier about, going to specific grocery stores, and it's the same stuff, literally year round. Year round. It's I'm on, what is it, a broken record. I just buy the same stuff every time, and I get bored with it, because you're okay, my body doesn't want this anymore. So going to
it's kind of okay, what am I going to do with this today? Or you walk into the supermarket and you're I don't even know what to do right now. This is terrible. Yeah. It's just, it's a lack of, so, visiting different markets, or even, going to a Mexican market. Yeah. Or, an Asian market, and just trying different things. And, it's amazing what you can
And how different
something
you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
It is exciting. And it's fun, and you want to cook it, and you want to work with it, and you want to eat it. So that's a huge part of nourishing yourself, is when the energy is there to do it. Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, so we are on the healthy green, love, rejuvenation, heart chakra. So the heart chakra, if it's healthy, you're kind of nurturing, you know how to nurture yourself. You know how to give thanks, and you're usually pretty grateful. This is a person who embraces love, and it's the underlying foundation for everything they do. Mm-hmm. They love themselves, and they're able to give and receive in equal measure. Mm-hmm. And if you're unhealthy in green, usually an overgiver, or you might be an overreceiver. Yeah. You might be suffering from some sort of heart trauma. Yeah. And you might have problems breathing and
taking it in.
Yeah. You suffer real hard.
Yeah.
So with that, you want green. A lot of green.
Yeah.
So asparagus right now is in season. That's great.
I just bought some the other day.
You got even though the bulb of the fennel is white.
Yeah.
You can eat the greens, and they're really good for flavoring foods, or just even digestion, or just taking a piece of fennel off and just chewing it, and just it pops in your mouth, and you have that flavor, and it also, the smell of it
it smells
really
good.
Really good.
Yeah. Beet greens,
avocado. We've got all of that here.
Kale,
Swiss chard, Mizuna.
Yeah.
We can go.
All
of these things are. We can go down the list.
I know.
So and they're all in season right now. Like all of the new leaves
are coming up.
Beautiful lettuces. Everything is just coming right up. So.
Yeah. So all of those things are coming up right now. So let's talk about, as so far, we've talked, you can kind of tell, maybe, that the colors of these foods coincide with the color of the chakra. So if, we can feed it and give it what it needs if it's lacking, but on the flip side of that, we can be eating too much of something.
Yeah, I know someone who just ate too much kale, and he got sick from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think, I don't remember exactly what it did, but I think something to his gallbladder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't want to overeat something.
Right.
You want to be able to mix it up.
And that's where the variety
and be balanced. Like, if you want everything to be open, you can't clog it. It's like shoving something into a drain.
Too much is not, too much of anything is too much. It's not good. Right. I had a client, this was several years ago, but she ate too many carrots and the palms of her hands turned orange. She was like, I think I have an issue. Yeah. I'm like, yep, I think you're eating too much carrots. Too much beta carotene for you, sister. Mm-hmm. Let's just back off.
Yeah. I've seen people they've had too much carrot juice, and their complexion starts to look orange.
Yeah. My dog, like I was telling you before, I have a white pit bull, and she eats like carrots and blueberries and those types of things for treats. And I was giving her too many carrots, and the tip of her nose, like on the top of her nose, started to turn orange. So, you kind of don't wait till your body starts to turn a color or you have gallbladder issues. It's more being mindful of what have I eaten in the last week or so. It's also comes into play, like paying attention to how these certain foods make you feel. And if you're like, I don't want any more pineapple, right? Stop eating it. If you're good on the spinach or the kale, stop eating it. It's okay. It can always come back in.
Yeah, there's always something else.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
And especially if you're going to try and eat seasonally, because right now you can eat as much asparagus as you want to, but again,
come in a couple months.
Just because it's at the supermarket doesn't mean that
you have to eat it.
You have to eat it.
Right.
It's best right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because sometimes the asparagus is there year round, and I often wonder, do I need to pull up my chart, my seasonal chart, to figure out what is in season? Because we've been talking about, these foods are just here all the
just
time.
always here, and we're just overgrowing things.
Right. Yeah.
And getting used to having something available all of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So we talked about the greens. Mm-hmm. Now let's move into the throat.
Now we're moving into the throat, which is blue.
Right. Blue foods.
Blue foods.
Or not.
Or not. Okay, so this is your truth. This is where you're calming. This is where your voice comes from. And people who express themselves through their voice will eventually open up to who they authentically are. Mm-hmm. And they make good decisions, and they're confident. Mm-hmm. Which is I have a problem with.
Hey, I think we all do. I think we all do at some point.
I'm working on it, and I've got this crystal around my neck.
There you go. There you go.
To work that out.
Great.
So if you are unhealthy, you may have problems communicating.
Yeah.
You may avoid your
confrontations.
Confrontations and your authentic self, and you're not always sure about what your inner truth is.
Yeah.
So I eat a lot of blackberries and blueberries.
There you go.
In my smoothies in the morning.
I do too. Mm-hmm. Blueberries, wild blueberries. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The wild blueberries are always good. I love blackberries. Although sometimes, the seeds. Yeah. The seeds so you don't want to eat a lot of those because the seeds can upset your stomach, and you don't want to mess with your with your gut. So what else is good for that?
Let's see. Coconut? Coconut honey?
Coconut is good. And also if you get the green even though they're green on the outside, when it's not that dry coconut, it really is just like very soothing, and again, custardy. It's good for when you're having a craving. You have to do some work sometimes, but you'll work up your appetite. But also it's just like worth the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the green coconuts. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, you can get them here. You can find them most
I think I've seen them in most of the grocery stores, but farmers market for sure.
Farmers market for sure in DeKalb. Yeah. Okay. And also Seven Honda. Yeah. Yeah. They sell them there. Yeah, in Little 5 Points. They always have them.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And you can just get the bottom end of a chef's knife, and you can just
slice it off,
lob the top off, and then kind of crack along the top.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The next show.
Yeah.
I'll bring my machete.
Yeah. All right. I can't wait. Okay. So the next one, we're on the third eye.
We're going to the third eye, which is your peace. And people who are healthy with that, they're very intuitive. They follow their dreams. They process their thoughts with a larger context of experience, and they just seem to have a lot of wisdom. Yeah.
Sometimes seemingly from nowhere.
They just know the answers to everything, and they're very balanced with their moods and, again, intuition. So, if you have an unhealthy indigo, you might be a bit of a dreamer. Yeah. You might kind feel like you're in a dream, or you're not sure if you're in real life or if you're in a dream. You might be over analytical. Yeah. And you might become easily depressed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just you're kind of flighty. You're not centered.
Okay.
You're not here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Foods for that.
Yeah.
Where we are. Third eye.
Yeah.
So these are this is purple, indigo, violet, peace. Eggplants.
Okay.
Purple kale, Concord grapes, which are really yummy in the fall. Purple carrots, purple potatoes.
Purple potatoes are so good.
They're so good.
Even the purple potato chips, like if you make and coconut oil, so good.
So yeah, it's just kind of a lot of deep color.
And those more like fall.
Yeah, those are more fall foods, and I think that's when you need these kind of foods. Like it all,
when the winter starts to come
when it
in,
comes, and you start to kind of retreat.
Turn in, yeah.
These are foods that have a lot of nourishment, but they're
hardy.
They're hardy. They're a little heavier. They're more, like the eggplant's more like meat if you don't eat meat.
Right.
The grapes, they're kind of unctuous and they have that sweet flavor.
I like to freeze them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then eat them frozen.
And then eat them frozen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course all the kales, red cabbage.
Okay.
Just hardier, more sturdy foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then
now we have reached the crown.
We've reached
it.
Which is right here, right at the top. It's where your spirit and your aura lie. And this is, if you're healthy in your crown chakra, you're usually very spiritual. You've unified your faith and your greater self. You may pray or meditate more and just, again, be a very centered with your spirit and your devotion.
Cool.
So if you're unhealthy with your white chakra, you may be preoccupied with finding spirit. And you might lack intimacy and connection, even with yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so you may constantly question, what is going on? What is spiritual existence? I'm not sure about this. You're having trouble finding your place. And
sometimes that happens, like, even if you've been balanced and connected, sometimes you can get kicked off of that. And, I know for myself, in my own experience, that's happened to me. Also, headaches are a big one. I know for me, for a long time, when I was going through this whole, like, spiritual awakening, migraines were a thing for me. And it was like every time I would go out in public for a long period of time when I was around a lot of energy and I didn't come back to myself, I would get a headache.
Well, I think also, like if I don't meditate now, if I don't go to a yoga class for a couple of days, I go down.
Oh, same.
Way down.
Yeah.
So it's just
keeping
it going. And even if you have to take a break, you just have to know when to come back to it. You have to be able to check yourself and say, okay, like, something's off. I need to get myself in gear. Back in there. And like even with food.
All the time. This is the work that I do, and I'm constantly like, Colleen, you need to get it together. Because it wax and wanes, and it goes up. You're in balance, and then you're off balance, and a lot of people are afraid to, once they get themselves back in, their jive. There's sometimes a fear of like, oh, I'm going to fall off again. Right. But you're going to fall off.
Or also, if you're doing too much.
Oh, yep.
Right. It's the yin and the yang. It's both things. So you don't want to, spend your whole day meditating and doing nothing else.
Right.
Or go to like 5 yoga classes in one day.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
But you want to be able to have that balance.
To have that, yeah.
So
what foods, or is there foods for this?
There are. There are, like, these are the foods that you can actually really get all of the time.
Okay.
And these are kind of complementary to everything else.
Okay.
So mushrooms, garlic, onions, ginger, coconut, a lot of tropical fruits.
Okay.
And also lychee nuts.
Okay.
Those are.
So where can we find those?
You can probably find those at the DeKalb
Farmers Market. Okay.
And at any Asian market, maybe also at Buford Highway.
Okay.
And those should be in season right now.
Okay.
And those are my favorite.
Okay.
I love those.
Okay.
I when I lived in New York, we were talking about walking down the street, and you could walk through Chinatown this time of year, and they just sell them by the pound.
Oh, wow.
And so I would get a big bag and just kind of eat it along the way. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check those out. I've never had those. Had them.
No. You can also get them in a can, but that's
not. It's not the same.
Sugar and syrup. It's not
right, and it's not like from. It doesn't have all the
stuff. And you can probably get. Sometimes you can find frozen lychee.
Okay.
Like frozen coconut. If you just don't have the patience or you can't find them.
It's a good substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been really enlightening. I love talking about food as it pertains to the energy flow in the body, because I feel like a lot of people are hungry for these types of this information. So I'm excited to share with you, and hopefully one day we'll do a cooking.
Yeah.
We'll be able to cook some of these foods, but for now,
and maybe even visit the green market.
Yeah. So talk to me about the green market. Let's touch on that.
I go to Jimmy Carter.
Okay.
It's every Saturday from 8 until I think they close at 1.
Okay.
It's every Saturday, and it's basically local farmers from around Georgia.
That's great.
Some of them come from upstate, some of them come from downstate, and you can buy goat cheese there, you can buy honey, all of the vegetables, whatever's in season, whatever anybody's got. So, people go there and they buy it out.
All right.
So, you gotta get there early. You want to get there early. You want to
Okay.
get there. I usually get there around 9:15.
Okay.
And, I have my people, and sometimes I'll order something ahead of
Right.
the week before and just say, put this aside for me. Because this time of year, it just gets it gets crazy.
Is it all year long?
It's all year long.
Okay.
I think there's maybe one weekend that they close because there's maybe a special event or something at the Carter Center. There's a guy who comes from Louisiana actually this time of year, and he sells Gulf shrimp. So
nice.
And he sells them in 10-pound bags.
Ooh.
So you can freeze them.
Yeah,
and, do all that. So there's a bunch of different farmers, and I love supporting them, and just they're out there no matter what the weather's like.
That's great.
Growing their food and raising their animals and doing it with care and love. So it's just like you gotta honor that.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Leslie. This was so very fun, and I'm excited to share all of this with you guys. Well, you just listened to it, so you just saw it. But where can we find you on social media? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Leslie Parks Baliey on Instagram.
Okay.
Leslie Parks Baliey on Facebook.
Okay.
And the BaleyFeed.net.
Okay.
That's my website, but there's not much on there.
That's okay.
We're working on that. And also there's a few books that I'd like to show you that are really good. This is a good yoga and Ayurveda self-healing, and this is by David Frawley. This is a great book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
The Rainbow Diet, which I mentioned, is another great book. And the Chakra Kitchen.
This is a great
This
cookbook.
is an amazing cookbook.
I have it too. It's great.
And this is by Sarah Wilkinson. And just go out there, grow your own food if you have the space. Start your own little herb garden if that's where you need to start first.
Start.
And, just go to different markets. Don't get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Yeah. And it's more exciting that way too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you can find me on social media at ColleenMCC_. That's Instagram. On Facebook, you can find me at Colleen McCarthy RDN. And my website is Colleen-McCarthy.com. So if you want to work with me or Leslie, you can find us on the social medias. So I'll see you next time where we will learn more about feeding the spirit.